All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Dead Bang, 1989. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. You know it's a Karate Man recommendation when it's a lamestream movie that Rambo Raff for Life reviewed 10 years ago. Dead Bang is a 1989 U.S. action thriller film directed by John Frankenheimer, who not coincidentally did my favorite movie of all times, Seconds, and then it started going downhill from there. Manchurian Candidate is way overrated, and so is this one. I'm giving it 1 out of 5 stars. I hated this flick. There is no nudity at all, just off-screen sex with a hot-looking blondie who's in this movie for no apparent reason. It stars Don Johnson, Penelope Ann Miller is the blondie that I'm talking about. Then you've got William Forsythe as the dumb FBI Keystone cop, Bob Balaban, and Tim Reid from WKRP in Cincinnati, Simon and Simon. There are a lot of TV show actors in this. Johnson's character, based on real-life LASD detective Jerry Beck, tracks the killer of a Los Angeles County sheriff's deputy and uncovers a plot involving hate literature, white supremacist militia, and arms trafficking. So this is going to be a late 80s propaganda movie about white supremacy conspiracies that were floating around. Ridiculous and stupid. Is there a plot in this movie? No. This is all hysteria and propaganda, as far as I'm concerned. It's all a bunch of nonsense. And of course the FBI would be concerned with white supremacist militias. That's all they ever concern themselves with. That's their number one target. Public enemy number one. This fictitious white supremacist militia. All right. Production company Laura Marr Film Entertainment, distributed by Warner Brothers. Release date March 24th, 1989 in the U.S. Running time 105 minutes. It felt like 5 hours. Country U.S. Language English. Budget $14.5 million to $15 million. And box office of $8.1 million in North America. Is that a box office flop? Did I just mischaracterize? This movie is lamestream? I guess we'll find out. Maybe I was a little hasty with my judgment of Rambo Raff for Life. On Christmas Eve in Los Angeles, a dispatched LASD sheriff is shot dead by an armed robber who early on robbed a convenience store and also killed its black owner. The alcoholic, hard-driven LASD detective Jerry Beck is tasked with the investigation. He even pukes on one of the suspects. Must have been a bad hangover after he banged the blondie for no apparent reason on Christmas Day. While examining police records, he comes across a person of interest named Bobby Burns, who had recently been paroled from a 4-year robbery sentence. He and parole officer go to Burns' home only to find his college student brother, John, who claims he has not seen Burns, is only staying for the holidays. Liar. A man suddenly flees the house and Beck captures him after a chase on foot. He turns out to be one of Burns's friend, who is also on parole for committing armed robbery. What a coincidence. All these white supremacists are filling up the jails and getting paroled. The man tells Beck he last saw Burns driving a maroon Ford ranch wagon en route to Bakersfield, California. In Cottonwood, Arizona, Burns and his cohort rob a Mexican bar and they kill its patrons who pay in pesos. Boy, are these white supremacist dudes are mighty upset that the Mexicans in Arizona they pay each other with pesos. A local police chief informs Beck of the crime, and he immediately leaves for Arizona. Beck and the chief head to a ranch alleged to be Burns' hideout, where Burns and his men attack the officers by firing automatic weapons. They escape driving the Ford. Beck retrieves a cache of documents Burns dropped, which contains white supremacy propaganda. Ooh, the big boogeyman and the FBI. Maps and an address book. Beck leaves for Bogan, Oklahoma, to track down one of the people listed in the book, Reverend Gebhardt, who is the leader of the religious white supremacist organization Aryan Nations. Beck is joined by FBI agent Kressler, and they head to Gebhardt's church, where Gebhardt reveals the entity's aim of cleansing America of its racial impurities. And he denies ever seeing Burns. Burns, though, another liar, Burns, though, has been hiding near the church, casing the place. What's he doing there? That's right. That night, Burns springs on Beck while driving his car, holding him at gunpoint. As Burns prepares to shoot him, Beck crashes his car into an oncoming police vehicle to escape. During the gunfight, Beck lights a matchbook and he sets a car leaking gas on fire, causing Burns to escape with his men after an explosion. This is the only explosion in the movie, by the way. There's nothing redeeming in this movie other than Don Johnson shooting at a bunch of fictional white supremacists. Back in Los Angeles, Beck's superiors have been frustrated over his performance on the force, in part to his alcoholism and uncouth behavior. He curses and swears a lot. What else is new? He's from California. They recommend he undergo a psychiatric analysis. So here's one of John Frankenheimer's themes here. We have a pathetic loser guy, much like John Randolph and Rock Hudson in Seconds. And he keeps digging himself in a bigger hole. After the session, though, Beck threatens the psychiatrist into letting him pass the evaluation. He's going to punch him in the face if he doesn't if he doesn't pass after after telling the guy he looks like Woody Allen. He wants to be one of the guys. Don Johnson is laughing at him and mocking him. A phone call later that day informs him that he is now fit for duty. Wow, it didn't take much to get him off the hook. All he had to do was go like this in front of the head shrinker's face. In Boulder, Colorado, he meets police Captain Dixon, who entrusts his team of black men on the force to track Burns. So every single one of this guy is black, and they're going after Whitey. They're going to shoot up the catacombs along with Kressler. and the funny thing is that these white supremacists think that they're Christian because they have catacombs with Nazi flags everywhere. Along with Kressler, he and Dixon head to a paramilitary training camp owned by the Aryan nations, and they ambush Gebhardt and the other members. Oh, we got Branch Davidian ambush going. His search for Burns yields no results, which causes hostility between him and Kressler. Beck, though, we've got a Randy Weaver assault going. Beck, though, discovers a concealed door that leads to a bunker. A gunfight ensues between him and Burns. Beck shoots and fatally wounds him. As he lay dying, Burns denies killing the LA cop. John suddenly emerges from behind them, and he holds Beck and Kressler at gunpoint, confesses it was he who shot the cop to show his brother that he shared his contempt against the police and fidelity to white supremacy. So he killed the white cop so that he could show fidelity to white supremacy. Because the cops are locking up the Aryan dudes. Beck hurls John insults about his brother, and John reciprocates by opening fire at him. This scene is pretty ridiculous and corny. When John runs out of bullets and springs from cover, Beck shoots him dead. Don Johnson is able to shoot up all of the skinheads, white Aryan dudes, and other assorted social misfits. And the black dudes are like, they're all injured or shot or something. At a press conference, Dixon informs that the FBI will be revising its position on white supremacy groups. Big surprise there. That's all they ever focus on. And he credits Kressler with the success of the investigation due to the evidence the agent gathered. How about going after communists? That would be a worthwhile effort. But the FBI should be abolished anyway. Jerome Beck is listed in the film's closing credits as walk-on character Detective John, and also as the film's technical police advisor. Beck was an LA County Sheriff Department detective who sold the film rights to his life to Frankenheimer after meeting him. Don Johnson later recalled, "That was amazing because it was a real life character. It was an actual cop and he wrote the script." Oh, no wonder the script stinks. John Frankenheimer was the director and I was excited to work with him. Well, That excitement was not, it might have been from watching seconds. I don't know. Jerry was a homicide cop in LA and he had curly hair. So I permed my hair, which was a very interesting choice because I kind of look like it's kind of odd. I don't really know how to describe it. I don't know if you know a lot about perms, but if you do them, they relax after about 2 or 3 weeks. So my hair goes through these amazing transitions of being really tight and really wavy and sort of goofy looking. Laughs. According to director Frankenheimer, Connie Selica was originally chosen for the part that went to Penelope Ann Miller. Johnson refused to work with Selica, so she was fired and paid off. Production was designed by Ken Adam. Director of photography was Jerry Fisher. Music by Gary Chang. Principal photography began on April 14, 1988 in Alberta. Shooting locations included Calgary, Drumheller, and High River. The final 3 weeks of filming took place in LA. On the review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes, only 33% of 12 critics' reviews are positive. All right. This is going to be a quick video, and then I can take a little nappy poo, go canvassing for another illegal in-law. Dead Bang 1989, rated R, 1 hour 42 minutes. It gets an okay, pretty decent 6.1 out of 10, 4,900 ratings. So it's not super popular, but it is pretty lamestream. A man kills a storekeeper and a cop. LASD homicide detective Jerry Beck gets the case. His murder is connected to the heavily armed white supremacy group. And Don Johnson is going through divorce. He's racking up 2 credit cards simultaneously, which I did a couple months ago. Here's a flattering review from Tyler Durden, 74. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. More like this, 52 pick up the challenge, the hotspot, and year of the gun. Don Johnson's first attempt to establish himself as a film action star. His commitments to Miami Vice, 1984, prevented him from accepting high-profile genre films such as The Untouchables, 1987, and Die Hard, 1988. Johnson was able to make this film in part due to the 1988 Writers Guild of America strike, delaying production on Miami Vice's 5th and final season. Jerry Beck is quoted as saying, "Come on, Kressler, open your eyes. These people aren't a ragtag bunch of yahoos that drink beer and run around in sheets on Saturday night. They've got money behind them. They've got strong pockets of community support." Arthur Kressler says, "No proof. You don't know that for sure." Jerry Beck says, "The hell I don't. We just walked out of one. Who the F do you think called ahead and warned Gephardt? They are standing on the effing porch when..." Arthur Kressler, "Excuse me, as one professional to another, I would appreciate it if you minimized your constant use of profanity." Jerry Beck says, "You're kidding." Arthur Kressler says, "No, sir, I'm not kidding." Jerry Beck says, "I'm telling you something's going on here. I'm telling you something big is happening here, and all that grabs you is my language. What the F is the matter with you?" Arthur Kressler said, "That's a good example. I'm a Christian, Beck. I'm sure that seems like nobody, like probably a joke to you, but I find your language personally offensive." What are these Chinese people doing here? Yelling at each other in Chinese. They must be greedy redevelopers. This was featured in Teveniznak Forhat Det var inte meningen 2022. Soundtracks Un Mundo Raro, performed by Los Tres Diamantes as Los Tres Diamantes, courtesy of BMG Areola International. Release date March 24th, 1989 in the U.S. Country of origin United States. Languages English and Turkish, also known as Dead Bang with a hyphen. Filming locations Drumheller, Alberta, Canada. The police station. Production company Lorimar Film Entertainment. Box office of $14.5 million estimated. Opening weekend US and Canada, $2,847,690 on March 26, 1989. Gross US and Canada, $8,125,592. And gross worldwide, $25,592. I don't know why IMDb always has the same US and Canada worldwide totals. That seems off to me. Maybe it was a financial flop. I guess we'll never know. But it's still popular after going on streaming and VHS, DVD, whatever else. Runtime 1 hour 42 minutes. 102 minutes seemed like 5 hours. This is in color, and the sound mix is Dolby Stereo aspect ratio 1.85 to 1. Now let's get back to that review. The title of the review on IMDb is Cult Movies 14. I guess this person, Tyler Durden, 74, is numbering his reviews on IMDb and calling them cult movies, which is the title of all my YouTube playlist, cult movies. Okay, pretty cool. Come on. It's taking forever. Let's go down my list real quick. Here we go. Number 1, They Made Me a Criminal, 1939. Number 2, Never Back Down, No Surrender, 2016 with Michael J. White. Number 3, Disconnected, the real story behind the transgender explosion, 2022. All right. I'm still waiting for the page to load for Tyler Durden 74 review, giving it a 7 out of 10. Title of the review is Cult Movies 14. And I can't seem to load this page. Anyways, I hated this flick. I'm not going to say highly recommended or check it out. I'm going to say skip it. Karate Man likes to send me crappy movies to put on my list. And occasionally I'll get a really good one, like Snake Eater 3. So it's sort of a mixed bag here as of late. I wouldn't say he's scraping at the bottom of the barrel, but it's the 5 out of 5 stars are becoming less frequent, let's say. And I wish this thing would load so that I could go hit the toilet. I just took colon cleanser after forgetting to drink water last night. All right. Stop. Let's try this again. All right, finally. I had to click on it like 20 times. Cult Movies 14 from Tyler Durden, 74, dated January 3rd, 1999, giving it a 7 out of 10. 14, Dead Bang, action, 1989, Detective Beck. Don Johnson is an LA cop whose life is falling to pieces, quite literally. He's not even allowed to wait outside his kid's school because his ex-wife got a restraining order, and she's putting him through the ringer with legal bills. When my ex-wife did that to me, I just made her to pay my legal bills, and that was the end of it. His wife has just left and is hitting the bottle again. That happened to me. I was drinking the Mike's hard lemonade for a while when I was separated from my son, which was devastating. I couldn't handle it. Assigned to a cop killing that seems routine, Beck sees his chance at redemption by immersing himself in the case. The murder has ties to a ruthless and tightly controlled neo-Nazi sect. Ruthless and tightly controlled. He starts a cross-country chase that inevitably leads him to rural America. Surprise! The Oklahoma chief has a sign with the N-word on it. And black people keep out. With the help of an FBI agent, Beck is intent on exposing a network of ruthless criminals. Critique: an exercise in futility. That's how one critic summed up Don Johnson's acting. With a squeaky voice, boyish looks, and sparse acting, plus an endless array of cool wardrobes, he became something of a cult favorite, playing Detective Stubbs in the hit TV show Miami Vice, 1984 to 89. Since the end of the show, his movie career has been a total loss. Well, almost. At least he can look back proudly on his work in John Frankenheimer's Dead Bang, a slick old-style slam-bang action film, taking his Stubbs character to new heights, or lows for that matter. He plays the consummate burnout cop. He has been given a solid script to work from, professional direction by old hand Frankenheimer, and a good supporting cast, including John Forsythe as his FBI partner. I was starting to think that Forsythe was one of the white supremacists, like he might have been colluding with them, but no, there's no plot twist in this one. Supposedly based on the real life experiences of LA detective Jerry Beck, this is Johnson's only film where he proved to be more than an exercise in futility. Quote, I got a splitting headache. I'm seeing double and shoot, I think I'm going to throw up again. Okay. Well, that was a disappointment. I'm sorry to say. Nobody's in the chat room. Nobody cares about my me trashing yet another Karate Man recommendation. I've got so many on my list. It's not even funny. I just want to get past all this Karate Man stuff and get back to the real purpose of my channel, which of course is to review obscure and low-rated garbage films. Not this lamestream Rambo Raff for life competition. Although I don't mind competing with them, but this is getting a little excessive. So I've got Never Back Down, No Surrender as my only Karate Man review. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. But after that, I've got Mask of Death, Deadly Target, Bad Blood, Code of Silence, Stormcatcher, and Silent Tiger. Silent Trigger. Why did I say Silent Tiger? Okay. So that's all of the Karate Man stuff. Again, I'm trying to mix it up a bit. I'm a little slow on getting my reviews. I hope to get another one in Monday, namely They Made Me a Criminal, 1939. But next week is going to be a 3-day weekend. So I'm hoping to get 6 reviews in from the 29th until the 1st, I think, is what we're looking at here. So that'll be good. And that's the end of my review. I got to get busy and find a new place to live. This is serious stuff. Laters.